Yo, what is going on, Goomer Gang, and welcome back to another video on the Feisty Goomer channel. And today, I'll be reacting to my Euro 2020 predictions, and we're in for a treat because there are a lot of things that didn't go expected, but the unexpected was expected. So let's just get right into it. Okay, so here we are. We see that I got 63 points, where I got 23 out of 49 correct. And actually, I'm kind of surprised. I didn't realize this because I was checking as it went through the tournament. But I'm surprised I was in the top 8% of players. I thought that was pretty impressive. So point breakdown, we got 12 out of 24 group stage, 1 out of the 4 third place qualifiers. That's not that great. 7 out of the 15 knockout stage. That's not horrible. And bonus points, so correctly predicting who made it to the semifinal or final. So, but then it says 47% of the users got 63 points or more. So how can I be top 8% of players? I'm not sure, but still I'm happy with it, I guess. You're never gonna get this perfect. You just never are. So here we are down at the group stage. So I predicted Italy, Turkey, Switzerland, Wales, and so the big surprises from this, I watched the vast majority of these games. If I wasn't doing anything else, I was watching these games. So it was a great tournament. I loved watching it. I love watching international soccer, and it was a great time. I can tell you what I saw and tell you what teams impressed me and which teams were kind of disappointing. So Turkey was a huge disappointment this tournament. They were like a dark horse favorite to like do really well, maybe like have a pretty good run. Better than expected, but they didn't win a single game. And I think they're one of the few teams to not win a game or not even get a point from a draw. And then Wales did better than I expected. I probably should have known better. The Wales-Switzerland match, Switzerland should have been second, honestly, ahead of Wales, because I watched that Switzerland-Wales game. It was the first game of their group, and Switzerland really outplayed Wales. They got a goal ahead, but then they kind of sat back, and then Wales equalized, and then Wales just did better the rest of the game. So, yeah. Turkey was a disappointment, and Wales did better than I thought, but I was probably a little too harsh on them to begin with. All right, Group B. Oh, my God. Denmark. Let's talk about Denmark. I watched their first game against Finland live, where Christian Eriksen went into cardiac arrest. I was watching that live, and that was nothing I've ever seen before on live TV, or it was just so bizarre and scary, and it was tough to watch. But I'm so glad that he's recovered, even if he doesn't play soccer again. What's important is that he's alive, so that's great. And then Denmark went on to have like a fairy tale run, which I'll talk about that more later. Belgium first, Denmark second, got that right. And then I guess Finland got third only because they pulled that win against Denmark on the day that happened to Christian Eriksen. So, I mean, props to Finland for getting it done, but Finland literally had like one shot and scored and won 1-0. Like, there was more factors that played into that result probably. But yeah, so Group C, got every single pick right. That's the only group I did that for, and I'm happy about that. I will say that I think that was probably an easy group to pick because North Macedonia being fourth is not too surprising, although they didn't play horribly. Their game against Austria was really entertaining, actually, but they lost. Ukraine getting third, not that surprising. Austria getting second. Netherlands first. What Netherlands in the knockout stage is different, but what they did in the group stage was very predictable. Okay, so Group D. We have England and Croatia topping the group, as I thought. But then the Czech Republic actually got third and Scotland got fourth. So Czech Republic definitely overperformed in probably many people's eyes because of Patrick Schick, their striker who scored 5 goals, tying Cristiano Ronaldo for top goal scorer of the tournament. He did very well, and so they got third, and they almost got second, but Croatia just pulled through. And then Scotland, they did well against England. England didn't play well against them in that 0-0 draw. Maybe Scotland even deserved the win, but they couldn't pull it off. But they didn't play horribly, but they did worse than I thought. So yeah, England first, Croatia second. England in the group stage, we'll talk about them later because they obviously make it to the final. England in the group stage was very underwhelming, but then they picked it up. Group E didn't get a single pick right. And if I'm remembering correctly, which I think I can do this, yeah, so Sweden got first because the story of Spain, and even the way they went out in the semifinal, is that they can control the game with possession, pass completion, and not win. they tie. I don't know. They didn't lose a group stage game, I don't believe. No, I don't think they lost a group stage game. But just not pull out the win. And it led against Italy going to penalties because they could not pull out the win. They can't finish, apparently. Well, I mean, obviously, they had... What's funny is that they ended up being the top scoring team of the tournament, or one of the top scoring teams of the tournament, because they had 2 games with 5 goals. But really, other than those 2 games where they just completely went off scoring-wise against Slovakia and Croatia, they really couldn't finish when they needed to. So, other than Croatia, that's when they needed to, because they ended up winning in extra time. But against Slovakia, they just won 5-0. But when they needed to get goals, they couldn't do it. They could control the game, but couldn't score. But they have a promising team. Pedri, their 18-year-old starter, had a great tournament. When I was watching him, I didn't feel like he was like that much better than everyone else. Obviously, it's impressive that he's 18 and he's out there, but statistically, he was astounding. So like, great for him. And then Sweden getting first was cool because I liked seeing them hold on against Spain and then do well in the other games. And yeah, so that's all from Group E. And then Group F, the group of death. Hungary getting fourth seemed like a really easy decision when I was making this prediction. But they performed very, very well. And them showing as a 4th place team is almost disrespectful to them. But the fact that it's in the group of the death makes more sense. But they did very, very well against 3 of the best teams in the world. But France getting first, not that surprising in my eyes. Germany ended up getting second, Portugal third, and then Hungary fourth. The Germany-Portugal game was one of my favorite games to watch the entire tournament as well. But yeah, that's all I got to say from there. So yeah, that's my group stage. And then we move on to third place, where I only guessed Switzerland correctly. Scotland didn't make it out. Sweden ended up being first, and Germany ended up being second. So that's how it goes. Okay, on to the knockout stage. So, Belgium, Sweden is what I predicted, but it was really Belgium, Portugal. But I still got the points because Belgium advanced. So there we go. Italy, Austria, I got that perfectly right, and I also picked the correct winner. France, Switzerland was the right guess, but then France lost in penalties to Switzerland. Yeah, not good. I didn't get a chance to watch that game. I didn't get a chance to watch any of the round 16 games because I was actually out of town. But I watched the highlights of all the games, and the fact that France was up 3-1 with like 15 minutes left and then lost it, it's just crazy that they couldn't pull it through. And then all of the news that came out about Adrien Rabiot's mom, like, trash talking other players on France's parents, like, it was just bad. Like, that was a bad fallout for them. And then Switzerland went on, I'll talk about that later, but they went on to lose against Spain, but everybody wanted Switzerland that game unless you were Spanish, probably. Okay, here's this one. Croatia, Poland, but it was actually Croatia, Spain, and that was a very exciting game. That was the game that Spain's goalie just basically let a pass from his own teammate go into the goal, but they ended up pulling it through in extra time. Croatia made a comeback to tie it up, but then Spain finished them off. Spain, Scotland, but it was actually Sweden, Ukraine. That was an interesting game with Ukraine pulling off the winner in the very last minute of extra time against Sweden, who was down a player. England, Portugal, it was actually England, Germany, but I predicted England correctly. Netherlands, Germany, but it was actually Netherlands, Czech Republic, but Netherlands still lost. So yeah, that was bad for Netherlands. That handball by Matthias de Ligt was pretty bad, and it probably should have been a red card. So that was good that they made that decision, but it's still a tough way to go out for a team that was very promising. But congrats to Czech Republic for overperforming. Turkey, Denmark, it was Denmark, Wales. I was glad to see this happen. Another match I forgot to mention was the last group stage match for Denmark against Russia. That game was amazing. The fact that they had to win by 2-goal margin or more, and they got it done, and all the ups and downs of that game of thinking, because they needed Belgium to beat Finland, and then they went up, and then the crowd was cheering, but then they called the goal back, and then Denmark gives up a penalty. It was just all over the place, but then they pulled it off, and it was amazing. And everybody wanted Denmark to go far with what they overcame with Christian Eriksen. And it was just really a fairy tale story, and I'll talk about that more. But the fact that they got out of the group with only 3 points is also crazy. That's never happened before, I don't think. But yeah, that was awesome. And then Belgium, Italy, correctly predicted that. Italy beat Belgium. Pretty convincingly. Belgium only had a PK, and that was their only goal. France, Croatia, but it was really Switzerland, Spain. So I picked both of the wrong teams here. And Switzerland, oh my god, I can't believe Spain couldn't get it done. A very harsh red card on a Swiss player led to Spain facing Switzerland when Switzerland was down a man. And Spain could not score in extra time. Jan Sommer, Switzerland's goalie, had, I don't remember the exact number, but I think double-digit saves, and played out of his mind just to lose in the shootout because his teammates could not score in the shootout. It was so sad. I wanted Switzerland. It was tough, but Spain pulled it off. And then Spain, England, but it was really England, Ukraine. And England, this is when they started getting their momentum, beating them 4-0. They'd only scored 4 goals before this game, and here they are, doing really well, so that was cool for them. And then Germany, Denmark, but it was really Denmark beating Czech Republic. That was cool. I wanted Denmark more, even though Czech Republic making it to semis would have also been cool. Okay, so now we're in the semis. Italy, France. It was Italy, Spain, and Italy won. I already talked about this game a bit earlier, but I was happy that Italy won. And then England, Germany. That was a game that happened before in the round of 16, but it was actually England, Denmark. And yeah, England got a cheap penalty shot, probably a cheap PK in extra time to beat Denmark, but England deserved to win that game, so not too bothered by it. And then the final being Italy, England. I went into it thinking that was pretty neutral, but seeing how that ended, I think I ended up wanting England more. It was cool either way. The fact that Italy came from not qualifying for the 2018 World Cup, which is unprecedented for them, to making this run and winning this tournament is amazing. Roberto Mancini, their manager, has done so well for them. They're on like a 33-game unbeaten streak. Yeah, amazing. And then England never winning a Euro and only winning 1 World Cup with greatness of their teams they've always had. It just seems wrong that they haven't won more. So it would have been cool for them to win in front of their own crowd, but they couldn't get it done. They're cursed with penalties, I think. And yeah, I don't know why this says England win 2-3 on penalties, because it was 3-2 Italy. Whatever. But like, people storming the stadium at Wembley, that was awful. The racial abuse Rashford, Sancho, and Saka received was horrible. I'm glad to see people in England stand up for those players and support them, because that's what they need to be doing. It's so ridiculous that anything else could happen. They defaced a Rashford mural in his hometown that was made because he was giving food to kids in need during COVID. Like, how can you... I just don't understand how you can be that mad at a player and just be racist at all. Like, it doesn't make any sense. So that's just really sad. But something that came from that was good was people in that town stepping up. And first the defaced mural was they fixed it, and also they were covering it up and decorating it with thoughtful and loving messages, and that was just great to see. So that was cool. Yeah, so World Cup 2022 is going to be awesome. It's going to be in November, December, because it's in Qatar, so that's going to be interesting. That's unique from other years. Usually it's in the summer. But real quick, I'll show you what happened in the Goomba Games draft game thing I made, and show you the results of that. So let me pull that up. Okay, so here we are. I ended up getting last because I ended up with the first pick, which, as I talked about in the last video, I seem to always get. But for this, was really a disadvantage because I didn't get to pick again till the 12th pick. So for my second team. So yeah, that wasn't great. So I got last. My friend Austin got second to last. If Belgium went far, he could have won, but too bad for him. My cousin Mason got third. He had Denmark in the semis, so he was somewhat close. He had 0 points after the first group stage game, and then kind of made a comeback, so that was cool. Third place was my brother, who if England won in the final, he would have gone first, so too bad for him. Second place was my dad, who was the only person to have all 4 of their teams make it into the knockout stage, so that was good for him. And I'm glad that he got second, even though he didn't have a team in the final. I think the point system making him second because he got all the teams out and all of his teams did so well, I think that's fair. And then my Uncle Jason got first with Italy winning it all. So yeah, I'll probably do the same exact point system for the World Cup next year. I don't know if all these people are wanting to do it again. I think they might be, but it's going to be interesting because it's 32 teams this World Cup, I believe, and 6 does not go into that cleanly, so we'll see what we need to do. But yeah, that's how it ended up happening. And yeah, that's it. I'll do it again for the World Cup next year, and thank you so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed me talk about my predictions, and very soon I'll be uploading my RV California vlogs that I just filmed this past week or so on vacation with my family, so I'll be uploading that soon. Look forward to that, and until next time, I'm Feisty Goomba. Peace out.